You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 394 of Podketeers. Although 2021 closed on a somber note because we lost the incomparable Betty White, we're going to do our best to start off 2022 on a happy note. And in this episode, we talk a little bit about Betty White and a great way to honor her memory on what will now be the anniversary of her 100th birthday. Also, Bob Iger's tenure has officially ended with the Disney Company. There was a great connection with a popular TV show and the latest Disney Plus original series, The Book of Boba Fett. Plus, we talk about Disney's Encanto and what we'd like to be able to do if our houses granted us magical abilities. I do want to let you know that we definitely dropped some spoilers about the film in this talk, so if you haven't seen the film and don't want it spoiled, we would like to suggest listening to that part of the podcast after you've seen the film. Unless you don't care, which in that case, just carry on. We'd like to hear your thoughts on things that we talked about in this episode, so if you'd like to join the conversation, you can connect with us over on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers, but we'd love for you to join our Discord server. Joining is super simple. All you have to do is head on over to podketeers.com/394 and click on the Discord logo on that page to join us. Before we get things going, we want to take a moment to thank a very special group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content like the Podketeers after show, and access to our monthly happy hour calls, just to name a few. For more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. Alright, it's time to do the thing. So, Happy New Year, everyone. We're certainly hopeful that this year will definitely be better than the last, and we want to wish all of you a great 2022. Thanks for hanging with us. Here is episode 394 of Podketeers.
Cream of the crop. Have you guys watched The Young Rock?
Yes, I love it. Did you see the Christmas one yet?
Yeah. Where it's like Christmas Carol or whatever. Yeah. Melissa's got to be binging Young Rock, right? Are you watching Young Rock?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. No.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's so good.
You got Macho Man. You got Andre the Giant's on there. You got all kinds of people.
Oh, so
on there.
I'm gonna recognize everyone.
Yeah. I mean,
cool.
It's all kinds of fun people on Young Rock. It's one of the few rock things that I still can put up with because I'm a little oversaturated with rock right now. with Dwayne Johnson.
Him and James Corden, apparently.
Oh, man, that guy. Let's not even talk about James Corden.
That guy's in everything.
He's going to weasel his way into everything that has any... If it has a song in it, James Corden's going to try and be in it.
I'm surprised he wasn't in Young Rock.
There hasn't been a song in it yet. That's
NBC property.
When they have a musical episode, James Corden will be like, I'm as a cat. I don't know. I can't do British accents. Save my life.
No, you nailed it. Spot on, dude.
Okay.
James Corden. That was pretty close.
All you needed was a crosswalk.
Yeah.
And you're good to go.
Okay, I'm the Phantom of the Opera. I don't know what he does. He sings songs in the crosswalk. Yeah. He's got, I don't know. I miss Craig Ferguson in that slot, but anyway.
I like Craig Ferguson.
Anyway, we need to get ourselves a Jeff the Robot. That's what we need.
Oh, yeah. And a horse.
And a horse. Secretariat, yeah.
Yeah, and a horse, yeah. Hey, so since we're talking about barnyards and animals again, can we circle back to this Get Fiddle thing?
Get Fiddle. I Googled it, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering, because if you're going to do the whole, bit... I could do a Get Fiddle. We could do Get Fiddle Hero, and just
Get
play
Fiddle,
a game. Yeah.
I think they just said, Bluegrass Hero, I think, is what they need. We can have all kinds of instruments, I think.
Honestly, I had no idea that a Get Fiddle was a guitar. I thought it was a fiddle.
So I double-checked, and I looked it up, and it's a, hybrid. It's like if you took a larger violin and then put a guitar neck on it, and you play it like a guitar, but it looks like a violin. I Googled it once you brought up Git Fiddle.
Oh, so it is like a physical hybrid. It's not just tuned differently.
Yeah, no, it's like I looked it up. That I think the first thing I looked up was wrong, but then I looked up videos of people playing Git Fiddles, and yeah, it looks like a big, like it looks like like a violin with a guitar neck on it, and they play it like a guitar.
Oh my damn! I need one of those in my life.
Yeehaw!
I say we do it. We'll have a new gig that we can start up back in the Big Thunder Ranch area of. Wait a second.
Oh,
Wait a second.
No, it's okay. You got another venue. The Golden Horseshoe. We'll do it
yes.
That's true.
Stage, yeah.
We
So
can do it
reusable.
there.
Or we can take over Farley's spot over there on the porch. Like, there's plenty of
No.
places.
True.
There's
But
plenty
if
of
we do the
places.
Golden Horseshoe, though, we'll be taking it away from the Muppets.
They're not in there now.
Go
But they can
outside.
be.
Go
Well,
outside.
why don't we be the band for the Muppets?
Oh,
you go.
see, now you're talking.
Bluegrass Muppet Band.
Bluegrass Muppet Show.
There we
I'm
go.
for it. All right. Well, I'm going to get me a Git Fiddle and tune it up, shine it up real nice. There's that rock callback.
Real purdy.
Except I won't do what the rock would have said with it because, I mean, I want to play it. I want this thing to happen with the Muppets. Like, imagine playing with the Muppets.
Oh,
Imagine
man.
how rad that would be.
That'd be fun.
First, I have to learn to play a thing. But then, yeah, that would be great.
No, but then you can just fake it, right?
Fake
All
it.
you have to do...
Like Ralph does. It just like
Yes.
bangs on a keyboard. Right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
all we have to do is
Bang
get a
away.
big Bluetooth speaker from Costco, play something on our phone, and just let it project on the speaker, and then we just stand around and, like, strum
Oh,
away
I'm-
like we know
I'm
what we're
good
doing.
At, yep. I'm good at air drums. I'll be
Yeah,
the-
buddy.
There we go. Perfect. I'm
We're
really
making
good.
this
You got
happen.
the hair for it.
There we go.
Well, Happy
Yeah.
New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
20 dos. 20
Yeah,
dos.
yeah.
Something like that.
I want to say it was a weird start to the year. I know that there's a lot of people saying, like, same thing, different year. And, I mean, I don't think so. In general, yes. Are things happening that make it feel like it was before? Yes. However, there's a lot of positives now because we have a vaccine. We have a way to try to move forward. As much as many of us have struggled to move forward, it is easier to do that this year than it was in prior, years, right? So that's a
Right.
positive. Was it a negative that Betty White passed away a couple weeks before her 100th birthday? Yes,
Of
it was.
course.
Betty White was a freaking national treasure. Okay?
Legend.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And did it hurt? Yeah, I didn't even know her, and that one hurt. But I feel like her passing away, imagine if she passed away in 2022. Everybody would be like, oh, what a rough start. It sucked. Like, it would have been horrible, right? But I
Right.
think that in 2021 was her way of saying, all right, guys, we're ending this rough, but we're starting it good. Like, I think that knowing the type of person Betty White was, knowing the type of comedian she was, this was her way of saying, all right, we're done with this. Let's move on. It's going to be a better year next year.
Yeah.
Right?
Perfect timing. That's what everybody I saw people say. They're like, Betty White. I almost said Betty Boop. Betty White.
She would have left too.
I was listening to something the other day. They were talking about Betty Boop. Anyway, Betty White, she's a great actress, great comedian. She knows her timing. She's like, this is perfect timing. Let's do it now. It was all over the internet. I thought that was a nice observation.
There's I want to say a viral campaign happening where people are bringing up that, yeah, we could celebrate her birthday on the 17th, right? And one way to honor her is we just make a donation at any shelter or rescue or any place like that and make it in her name. And it doesn't even have to be like $20. It's just something to honor her. And I love that I'm seeing it all over on different platforms of social media. So that's one awesome way to like celebrate her because she was big with animals and loved animals. So
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty awesome that we're seeing that instead of, yes, she passed and it's sad, but I'm seeing this positive light coming out of it, which is great. I mean, start of the new year, and look what we're talking about right now, what she's doing. So, I mean, to me, it's just a positive spin of what's happened. And it's awesome, you know. Couldn't ask for anything better to come out of a really sad situation.
Yeah. So this challenge is they're asking everyone to make the donation on her birthday, like in honor, like in her name and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
think
me
we'll,
too.
We'll do one for Podketeers too. We'll drop some money in honor. Is there any specific place that we would donate to, or is it like any animal rescue, or how is this going to work? Like, has anybody mentioned that?
No, they're just saying in general, just your local or wherever anyone is. So they didn't say like ASPCA. Ooh, I always get that wrong. It isn't them. It's not an organization. It's just everyone is just asking to just help out their local shelters.
Yeah, this article here says, on Betty White's 100th birthday, January 17th, everyone should pick a local rescue or animal shelter and donate in Betty White's name. Make her 100th birthday a movement she deserves.
Right on. Does the article mention if there's like a website or anything for you to easily search for one in your area? Or is there like a default one we can fall back on if people don't have a local one?
Well, I think the ASPCA is nationwide.
Oh, okay.
If I'm correct, yeah. That's the American something PCA. I don't know. But I know that's where our dogs came from, and so yeah. I'm pretty sure the ASPCA are like the American Humane Society, I think are two different animal things that you can donate to.
I just love the idea of, if you know a local vet or shelter, some of these second chance shelters they have. I think Betty White's animal thing that she had would be just great if you find one, because you say that local donation too. I think a lot of people do donate to the ASPCA and Bob Barker's foundation a bit too. Those are ones that get donated to. But I mean, if you know of a local one that you've in your town that you feel pretty good about, I mean, that's even like going a little extra step. I would love to make a donation in Betty White's name, though. That sounds pretty cool, right? Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
Did you guys see the bit of programming that's coming to Disney Plus for Betty White's birthday?
I didn't see the Disney Plus one, but I knew that there was a Fathom Events thing at AMC Theaters where they were going to have like a whole 100th birthday celebration for her.
There's a special coming to Disney Plus called Betty White Goes Wild. It's a Nat Geo special, and it says, to celebrate the Golden Girls Betty White hitting her 100th birthday on January 17th, Disney is releasing the National Geographic documentary special Betty White Goes Wild onto Disney Plus. It comes out on the 14th. In this special, Betty White heads to L.A. and San Diego zoos to gain an insight into behavioral traits of big cats, their everyday lives, and the challenges they face in the wild. Yeah, so
that's a good idea, too.
So that might be a little bittersweet thing to watch, because they'll be talking about like, oh, you're 100 now, and something, like if it's part of the special or not. But yeah, that's coming to Disney Plus.
Oh man. The one at the movie theaters was Betty White 100 Years Young. And it was just like a short film that they had put together. I want to say that it was going to premiere on her birthday. And I don't know if tickets are still available. I doubt that they're going to cancel it unless there's some weird thing that makes everything shut down again. Yeah, I mean, the idea, this campaign, though, I think is genius, right? Just honoring her in a way that would have made her happy is super cool. Like I said, we're definitely going to do it. We'll find somewhere to donate, and if we can't find anything local, then we'll probably default to like ASPCA. ASPCA was one of our choices for Giving Tuesday, after all, when we listed the different charities that we've supported throughout the year. So it would make sense for us to back them for something like this as well. But yeah, I mean, she's such a sweet woman, but at the same time, like, her sense of humor put her in this echelon of people that she could. Have you seen the clip of her and Ryan Reynolds?
No.
There's a clip of her and Ryan Reynolds where even like Sandra Bullock is a part of the clip, and she sees Ryan Reynolds, and they're a part of the same, like they're a part of this film. It's an older film. It's like The Proposal or something like that from some time ago. But there's this behind the scenes clip or something that they filmed to promote it where she's like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Can you get me a coffee?" Ryan Reynolds is like, "No, I'm your co-star. Like I'm you know me. I'm Ryan Reynolds. Like I don't get you coffee." She's like, "Well, I asked you for a bleeping coffee," or something like that. Like, she snaps back and curses and everything. And then other people walk into the room, and she instantly turns it on, and she's like, "Oh my God, he's so mean to me." Like, she starts like supposedly crying. But what's funny is that when Sandra Bullock comes to grab her to like console her, like off on the side, like she's, showing him a special finger. And so he's like, "See, look at that. There it is." And she like starts crying again. I was like, "Oh my God, this lady's like, she's the greatest." So yeah,
I think a lot of people forget that Betty White like is a comedian, like first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll try to put up a link, at least to the ASPCA, on the blog post for this episode if you're interested in donating. Podketeers.com/394. But like Andrew, Mel, and Larry all mentioned, if you could find something local, obviously your local shelters always need help. If you can't make a donation, maybe in honor of her birthday, maybe you rescue a pet. There's plenty of pets that need to be rescued, that need a great home. And at this point, who doesn't need the love of a good pet? If you could do that, I think it would be much more helpful than making a donation. But yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll try to help out as best as we can. But at least if you want to make the donation, the ASPCA.org website might be the best option for you.
Yeah, do that for Betty White. That'd be great.
Speaking of people that are gone, but not physically, just, I guess, physically from the company, Bob Iger officially ended his tenure with the Disney Company on December 31st. Man, talk about a storied career.
Yeah.
Still getting that song ending, right?
It's a sad song. Not a happy song. You use the Christmas type song anytime it's sad.
That's true. I have to say that 47 and a half years is a crazy long time to be anywhere, right? But same company, regardless of all the positions that you've held. But come on, Bob, really? You were like less than 3 years away from getting your 50th anniversary statue as a cast member. You couldn't wait it out?
Come on, man. What a guy.
What's the 50th anniversary statue? Do you know? Is it the Snow White one?
It's a good question. I thought it was Mickey.
Well, I know that Oscar, right before Oscar retired, they gave him the 55 years statue. And I think that was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So I don't know if that's just like 50 plus, or if it was like 50 and then at 55 you get the Snow White one, or if there's like a lineage after that. But for those unaware, when you're with the Disney Company a specific amount of years, you get these milestone, what start off as pins. Like, they actually start off as like a little Steamboat Willie pin, a little Pluto pin, and it kind of works its way up into these statues. And so like for 20 years, I think it's like a Simba statue or something like that. And I think 10 years has one as well. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he was 3 years away, or less than 3 years, from hitting that 50-year milestone. Like, go back and be a greeter at the park or something. Like, do something where you can do something simple. You don't have to worry about what's happening, and just write it out till you get your statue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. But you know what? He's deserved it, though. I mean, he's come back. He's done double duty. I say he's earned it. I really do, especially for one of the toughest times that the Disney Company has faced. So give him those 3 years, just honor, just round it off. There you go. That's what I was trying to think of.
I'm just thinking he's got enough vacation to cash out and just use those credits or
exactly.
something, maybe.
Dude, how crazy would it be if that was the case, right? He's like, you know what? don't pay this out. I don't want to pay the taxes. I'm just going to go on vacation for the next 2.5 years.
Or 3 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, 3
And they're like,
years.
well, Bob, it's going to run out like 3 weeks before your 50th anniversary. He's like, fantastic.
See you
So yeah,
then.
it does look like I've been looking up this stuff this whole time. It looks like the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves is the 50th anniversary statue,
Okay.
or
Oh,
that might
okay.
be the current 50th anniversary statue because I believe Oscars was for he got the Snow White at 55 when he retired.
Right.
55 years. So, but yeah, it's looking like because a lot of Walt Disney World cast members got their 50-year statues this year
Right on.
because of the 50th or last year. That's what I'm finding is it looks like 50 is Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe they round him up, like you said, Mel. His job, if you look at him when he first got hired to do the job, it's like most presidents, right? They look all young and snazzy coming into the job, and then 4 years later, they look all white in the head, and they're like
Yep.
much older. It's like dog years, right? So I'm thinking we might be onto something with your suggestion, Mel. If we just kind of round it up, if you estimate in dog years, he's surpassed it. He should get like 3 of those.
Right? I agree.
Plus, it would
Blue
make
years.
Betty White happy because we're talking in dog years.
Yep.
Oh, good point.
Well, Bob Iger is one of those guys where we are going to dedicate an episode to, in the future. It's something that is in the works right now. He's got such a storied career with the Disney Company, starting all the way back to when he did the weather at one point, which was funny because he kind of, it all came full circle about a month ago when he showed up on an ABC broadcast in the morning and did the weather. And it was one of the funniest things because it wasn't announced, but he was kind of on his going away tour. Shows up and the anchors are like, hey, do you want to do the weather? And he's like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And so he's doing the weather. And it was a super fun video. Caught a lot of people off guard. If we can find it, it was posted all over Instagram for a while. I want to say that the ABC7 in LA account on Instagram also posted an official version of it. There was maybe a couple of videos. I'll put them in the blog post. Again, podketeers.com/394. And we'll also repost them on Instagram so that you can take a look at those because it was just fantastic watching him go through it. It was kind of his redemption, but also full circle because, he's got to be having fun. Like you said, Mel, he's tried to retire before. He's come back, and whether it was a favor to the company or to the board or whatever it was, like, he's done so much for Disney. Has he made decisions that a lot of people don't agree with? Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think that there's always going to be someone in that position that is going to make decisions that people just aren't going to like, some more than others. But I'm just saying that I think the legacy that he left behind as far as the shape that the Disney Company is in or was in prior to what happened with the pandemic was one that's unseen in anything else in business. I've read his book a couple of times, and it's just been a really interesting read. He always references it. It's been a ride of a lifetime, and I can understand why. If you haven't read his book, I definitely recommend it. It was a really great read. If you don't feel like you have the time to read, the book is also available through Audible, and that's it's a great way to get your book consumption in if you like to read but just don't have the time to do it right now. So yeah, I think in the future we're going to be doing an episode on Bob Iger, talk about his life, talk about his career, and talk about a lot of the things that came to the Disney Company and some of his most crowning moments. But I guess in the interim, we just want to say thanks, Bob. Thanks for everything that you did for the company. We appreciate it. And to just quickly address the rumor that I guess was going around that 2022 Bob Iger was going to come back to the Disney Company and run it again. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is it. Like, unless he
Yeah.
really wants that 50th anniversary statue, he's going to be like, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm done.
So I wanna correct myself what I said earlier. It's looking like the statue Oscar got, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, was created specially for him. It is the first time anybody got to 55 years. But he did not retire after then, and then when he got to 60 years, they made him a special statue that is just for him, and it's like a book with like the mice from Cinderella, and the book has his face in it. So
That I
yeah,
remember,
I
yeah.
still don't know what the 50th one is because the internet's not being my friend today. So any cast members out there or anybody that knows a little bit more than us, why don't you let us know what the 50th is, because I really want to know now.
But the one that they made for his 55 is the one that they gave the cast members that reached the 50 at Walt Disney World, right?
Now the current 50, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it looks like they might be like changing stuff around. So if there is a 50 before that wasn't Snow White, I'd like to know what it is. So somebody with the knowledge, let me know.
Yeah, let us know. I'm super curious to hear that now.
Anyway, bye, Bob Iger. Nice knowing you. Smell you later.
Smell you later.
Smell you later.
Before we continue, I do want to remind you that this episode of Podketeers is brought to you by a fantastic group of listeners known as the FGP Squad, or as we call them, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers in Quizneyland possible.
Oh, yeah, that too.
If you want more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, head on over to podketeers.com/FGP for more information. There you will find a list of some of our top contributors, a link to sign up on Patreon, a little bit of info about the FGP Squad. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about it. But being a part of the FGP Squad grants you some additional things like access to our happy hour calls, additional content that we post on Patreon, gifts that we randomly send out throughout the year, discount codes for upcoming merchandise, and all sorts of stuff. So again, any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And of course, to all of the members of the FGP Squad, we just want to send a huge thank you for your continued support.
Yeah, and FGP members, hey, if you want to go in the FGP Discord, and if you got any topics that you want covered on Quizneyland, you want any questions that you want covered on Quizneyland, let me know, and I'll try and work them in.
And that actually goes for Podketeers as
Anybody.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anything you guys want us to cover in an upcoming episode, drop us a comment, and we'll be happy to, do a segment or an episode on that in the future. Hey, speaking of Quizneyland, dude, this last episode, fantastic, because I learned a couple of things from it. I had no idea that before they were welcoming you to the Hotel California, the Eagles got started at Disneyland.
They sure did. That's a weird thing, yeah, with Linda Ronstadt. So go, listen to that episode of Quizneyland if you haven't. But yeah, it's a crazy stuff. It doesn't take too much digging, but once you start digging in these holes, you find lots of stuff, and yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these, a lot of the books too. It's good having these, the different books, because they all have these different, all this different information. I like the Dave Smith books are good.
So good.
Yeah, so those are fun. So yeah, I have a lot of fun curating the questions and stuff like that. So it's a good time. I'm glad people are liking them and learning.
Well, we're having fun listening to them. So if you like that type of Disney trivia and the fun facts, such as the one I just talked about, check out the episodes of Quizneyland, and members of the FGP Squad, if you have any topics that you'd like us to cover on either Podketeers or Quizneyland, drop us a line over on Discord and let us know in a comment. Okay, so before we continue, I know I want to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, but I think we'll talk about it after a couple of episodes have gone by so that we can settle into this new series. Can I just say, though, that it was super fun to see that the Parks and Rec episode where Patton Oswalt is doing the filibuster and he's talking about the hand of Boba Fett coming out of the sand and everything is essentially almost frame by frame how they opened up the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, when you sent us that and just listening, and if you had seen it, you could actually picture it, the entire scene. And then it's like, what?
I mean, like Thanos didn't show up and the Fantastic Four didn't show up, but other than that, like that first part was right.
Look, I'm sure that if you had given them a little more liberty, they may have. They are
Yeah,
under
you know
the
what?
same umbrella after all.
I would have been fine with it. It'd have been great.
They are in space to some extent, and the time stone exists. So if they were, the multiverse is opening up. So who's to say that Star Wars characters aren't part of the multiverse?
Yeah.
Aren't we all just in space, really?
That's true.
Whoa.
Dude, that's
Technically.
deep.
Whoa.
Deep. Philosophy time with Andrew on Podketeers.
Gem right there.
So, yeah, we'll definitely be talking about the Book of Boba Fett coming soon. But we want to transition over to talking about Disney's latest animated feature, Encanto, because, hot damn, it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
I've had an opportunity to watch it, a couple of times since it launched, and man, it hits home. There's a lot about it that just I'm putting this film on like Coco levels on my like meter. Okay, because although it's Colombian and not Mexican, the dynamics are very similar to Mexican families, and whether I've experienced them or whether I know people, friends or other family members that have experienced things like this, it's very common. There's so many tropes about it, as a matter of fact. So, first of all, let's just kind of lay our thoughts down about the film. So, let's go around and, lay your thoughts down on this movie.
I felt seen. I really did. I felt seen in this movie. You mentioned the family dynamics. Way to go, Disney, because this is the first time that they're talking about a dark sense that does happen in families. It's not always like pixie dust and flowers. This time it's like they kind of got down to the nitty-gritty. And when I saw this moment, I'm like, oh, Disney, who's looking through my camera? What's going on? Like, dang, I loved it. I mean, besides the music, the music's good. Music's
So
fun.
good.
It's beautiful, but I was like, dang, Disney, kudos.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think, well, we can talk about everything, but we don't talk about Bruno, right? We're just going to talk about
Right. Yeah, no, we don't
talk about Bruno.
Bruno.
No, we don't talk about
Bruno.
No.
No. Anyway, yeah, it was fun. I mean, it doesn't have I don't have any connection to it, culturally or anything like that, but I really enjoyed the film. The songs are fun. The characters are fun. Yeah, it's really just it's a fun movie that does hit like a lot of topics just on family in general and stuff like that. That it's really fun. I really enjoyed the movie. We'll probably have to watch it again soon.
For me, first thoughts. Excuse me, hold on.
For me?
I know, it really
So
choked
just-
me up. Nah. The first thoughts I was thinking is that my house has a lot of loose tile, but it's not as magical as Encanto's house. So I'll say that.
Casita?
Casita.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that, right?
I'm gonna try something different. Just using like a scale, since we're just generally covering this the first part. I'm gonna use butterflies because I think that matches what we got here.
Perfect.
Visually, 4 out of 5. Well done, Disney Studios. I mean, you feel like when you see these types of animations, like how do they make it better? And they did. It was the colors, the vibrancies, the shadows, just the CGI alone really brings the characters to life. The soundtrack, like you guys have been mentioning, the story, especially that first opening scene when she's talking about the Madrigal family, really well done, especially when she speeds up the story. And the only thing for me, like you guys are harping on, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 for the storyline. That's the thing. And don't come after me, I know.
It's okay.
It's just because I get it. There is so much family dynamic here, but I'll explain later why I gave it that.
Okay.
It's not because of that. The family dynamic is very well done. It's just there's a couple of things I had.
Can I quickly put in how happy I was to see mental illness being actually brought up?
Yeah.
When I saw the 3 knocks, I'm like, oh my, thank you. Just
Yeah.
thank you. All those little things. Yeah, this good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this film, I mean, I love it for so many different reasons. I feel like, in general, I feel like Disney films and Pixar films are to a point where they're going beyond the general, like, Peter Pans and Sleeping Beauties that we're used to, and very slowly digging into real world issues, right?
Yeah.
And so, in a sense, I can understand why that would break you away from the fantasy of the film, right? Because most people go to the movies because they want to escape real life. They don't want anything to do with the junk that they're dealing with at home, and they want an experience that is unlike any other. That's why a lot of people love Disneyland, right? We've talked about it here before. Like, Disneyland was always this happy place for a lot of us, and so we went to escape. Now, when the real world begins to clash with these experiences that you call your happy place, it reminds you that your happy place may no longer be as happy because it begins to clash with the real world, right? And so, is it important that media address some of these issues? Absolutely. Because if it doesn't become a topic of mainstream media, then how else can we address it on a larger scale, right? Because otherwise, a lot of people just think it's made up, that it's, something that you don't talk about, right? Like the whole thing with Bruno. Like, there's all these things that happen within families that you tend to want to keep to yourself, and you don't talk about it, and you hide it from other people because you want to seem like the perfect family. You want to seem like everything is under control, but it's not, right? And everybody experiences that. And so this film really broke the fourth wall, and in a way where it wasn't directly talking to you, like where the character turned around. In a traditional sense, they broke the fourth wall, but it broke the fourth wall of feeling for a lot of people, because those bottled up feelings that people had came pouring out as some of these characters were revealed throughout the film. So it's something that I think we began to explore a lot more. As far as representation is concerned, there's been, a couple that have really gone above and beyond as far as representation. Like Moana was like that. Raya was definitely like that. Soul, I think, had a whole different level of representation that we've never seen in a Disney film before. And all these films are breaking these barriers to make people feel included, to make people feel that we're all a part of the same world and we're all enjoying the same content now.
Mm-hmm. I actually seen a picture that went around. It was going viral. I'll say that. It was going viral. And it was a picture of Antonio. And it was a little boy who was in front of the screen, and he had the biggest smile. And the moment was that he turned to his parents, and he was like, I see me. Like, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And that's what I loved. Oh man, I love that. I love that so much about this film. Man, I could just gush.
Yeah. Were there any, so I feel like to a certain extent, like you mentioned it, Andrew, like mm-hmm. the dynamic that you had is a little different, right? From a cultural mm-hmm. standpoint, you don't have some of the same experiences, but I feel like everyone can still connect with a character regardless of the cultural experience that you've had, in the past. The question for the three of you, was there any character or characters that you felt that you connected to the most?
Bruno, which is weird. But yeah, definitely Bruno.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember all of the characters. I don't know. I had a weird affinity for the dad character. I don't know why, the Wilder Valderrama character. I thought he was silly, and I really enjoyed his performance. I don't know about how much connecting, but yeah, I really enjoyed that performance, and that one sticks in my brain a lot. I thought it was just really silly and fun. And like all the dad's also just trying to be like, everybody calm down for a second, we'll figure this out. Like he's just gonna he's like the outside guy. He's the married in, so he's just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna how about we chill out for a second. So
He's the peacekeeper.
he's the peacekeeper. Yeah.
But you see, that's the role that you play in a lot of senses too. Like, you're so jovial all the time that if anything begins to feel out of place, like, you play that peacemaker role. And not like the
I
John
sure
Cena
do.
peacemaker, but I mean like the peacekeeper role. Larry, what about you? Did you connect with anyone?
The kids in the coffee being too hyped up on coffee.
That kid was dope, dude. They gave him
That
the
was
hammer.
cute.
Blah, 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 blah.
One me on coffee. Yeah, I think no, Andrew, you bring a good point. I was doing the same thing. I was struggling right now. I was like, no, I don't. And then when you mentioned the dad, I was like, yep, I know that feeling. So yeah, that's the main character. Same here. I don't have much to add on. Andrew nailed every point. If there was one person I had to pick, I think that was the one for sure.
Right on. I thought about this before, and I feel like, in essence, every character plays a different aspect of mental health in everyone, right? And some are healthier than
Yeah.
others. But if I had to relate, it's so funny for me to say this, but I feel like if I could relate to anyone, I actually related the most to Mirabel.
Aw,
And
okay.
it's just, the more that I took inventory, a lot of it I feel is warranted, a lot of it is unwarranted, but like, she's probably the character that I connected with the most in the film. However, there are aspects of every other character that in my life at one point or another, I've felt that, I was going, manic or something because I felt like they did at some point. So I'm telling you, regardless of cultural experience, I think that there is a way of connecting with all of these characters on a certain level because it's just life, right?
Yeah.
Everybody goes
Definitely.
through this type of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's definitely life.
I guess now we're gonna start, spoiler territory a little bit more. I know we've talked a little bit about the characters and a couple of scenarios, but I think going forward there might be more spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, now is a good time to stop, come back after you've seen it. If you don't care, then hang out and listen to us talk about it. It's totally okay. You can go watch it later, and hopefully this helps you, appreciate it a little bit more. But let's talk about storyline, because I'm curious to hear what you thought about it, Larry, because you said you had some issues with the story. So why don't you kick us off?
So yeah, the thing was, okay, so Encanto, I'm understanding, is a miracle, right? I'm thinking that's the idea behind it. So when she's looking for her gift, this is my main thing. She's looking for her power in the movie, or something that she has, right? And we come to find what really she has is not like a power that we would physically see as like a magical power. So big spoiler there, folks. But what my thing was, like, there was times when I watched it and I totally connected with the characters as they were explaining the story, if I want to relate it to real life. But when I'm talking about like magic and that part of it, there was like parts where I'm like, well, technically she does have a magic. I know we're breaking the fourth wall like you explained, but she's like stopping time and doing these amazing songs with her family members, and we're not like acknowledging that is crazy in itself. Like, she's breaking out in these songs, and there's like donkeys flying in some of them, and her sister's like doing crazy things, and then like, you have her mom, and you have the whole story with Bruno. Like, that's a whole thing. Like, they're like breaking into these different realms, and it's like, whoa, that's like magic in itself right there. But we just acknowledge that as like a song number, right? That's just a song number. So I was like, okay, that's kind of confusing. And then the big reveal at the end, which we could discuss later, that was kind of my thing. And I'm still looking for, like, I guess I see the miracle, right, in it, and what the beauty of it is. But if I'm looking for like cinematic value and like payoff, it just didn't hit it in the point of like being a magical movie that I feel with Disney. great family movie to watch, to open up a window, like you said, to discuss these things in a movie and make them a point of like, let's talk about what we're seeing here, because this does happen. But what I'm talking about, like when you find that good groove of those two things, like for example, in Toy Story, they didn't have to hit too hard about explaining how you have this adaptation with toys. You think they're alive, but they're not. That's magic. But they pass down from person to person in real life, and that's the true beauty of magic, of keeping that childhood thing alive. Something like that I didn't feel in this movie. That's what I'm trying to say.
I can understand that. Andrew, what about you? How did you feel? Because I think in general, Mel and I felt a little different about the film. So I'm interested to hear what you thought of the general plot and the story before we jump in and I respond to what Larry was saying.
Yeah. Grandma needs to like chill out a minute. Like
creepy keys reminded me of Cinderella.
and she's
The
got
whole
like
keys on the keys and the
she's
watches.
strung a little too tight, that grandma. Like just chill out a minute, Granny. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I mean, I don't think the plot was like anything too hard to follow or anything like that. I try to like think of just plot details without discussing it. It's like you feel sorry for Bruno at the end. Like once you get into like Bruno's like little hidey hole, then you feel so bad for him because mean grandma's mean. And yeah, and the house. Yeah, I mean, at the end, the house comes back. Like the house is crumbled, and then it comes back, and it's magic again. Like that's, you know, I kind of agree with Larry. Like I think you don't get. I think if you got a little more invested in the house as a character, like yeah, the house was like a good portion of it, but it wasn't like. I don't know, when the house crumbled, like was falling apart, like I didn't feel as like torn apart as like something else in another movie, like somebody dying or something like that. And then when the house came back, it was great the house came back, but it also wasn't like as satisfying as like, I think that's what kind of Larry's trying to say, is like it wasn't like as satisfying that the house came back and was magic again, because you weren't as sad that it was gone in the first place. It was kind of like, well, the mean grandma was mean and she got what was coming to her. And so now nobody's got magic. Ha ha ha. And then it came back and it was like, okay, well, they, you know, I get the end part of the, you know, the magic is the community that you build and the people around you coming together. But I can see where Larry's coming from it. But I mean, I generally enjoyed the film, and yeah, the story was great, you know, other than that. But I can see where you're coming at with that, Larry.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with a little bit about the magic part, and the first film I thought about that spoke like quick magic was Tangled, and you kind of saw that everywhere, so I didn't get that too much, which is fine, but I saw it in a symbolism type of way, where you kind of have to have everybody together in order to make the house okay, like that. Like the home isn't a home if there's trouble. That's how I kind of got with it. Not really magic, more of a lesson. Does that make sense? But overall, I mean, I still loved it. I really do. The funniest thing, you know how when they're explaining the whole magic of who has what, who does this, who blah blah blah. Okay, so I have like 40 plus cousins. I think I have about 50. So. You know, when you get to the house and then it's like, well, they're doing this. They're going to college. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I kind of sensed that. I was like, ooh, all right, Disney, you know what's going on. So I kind of got that. It's weird to explain. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I was trying to say earlier, that I think regardless of the cultural significance, I think there's always going to be instances in family dynamics that are going to be similar to the way that things were handled in this particular film. And as far as the magic is concerned, the first time I saw the film, Larry, I agree with you. I actually agree with you. If you only watch this film once, it's really difficult to figure out and to find, Like, I got wrapped up in the stories and I got wrapped up in the characters because there was a connection that made me feel like, oh man, I've been through that in my life at one point. Like, I've had a family member tell me that, or I've gone through this before, so I know exactly how they're feeling, and you instantly empathize with it. To me, Casita was never a character per se. Casita, to me, especially after the second time, and I started watching it a third time, but I only got like 3/4 of the way through, but Casita to me was a representation of how a family structure can easily crumble when you over-rely on certain people. And when you put too much weight on how specific people in that family dynamic feel about others. When you allow one or two people to rule everything, then it can become toxic. And you don't know that it's toxic until somebody points it out to you. And so Casita was basically just a symbol. It was the symbolism behind how a family can crumble as quickly as it was built. That's where the magic came from for me. And I didn't pick up on that until like the second time that I started watching the film. Mirabel was never, like, she was never granted her ability the way that the others were, because she's basically the successor to the grandma. And her lesson and her power was to learn from the fact that her grandmother was keeping her family from being happy in a way that they wanted to be happy. That's a dynamic that I think a lot of people can actually relate to in many ways. Whether it's from a grandmother, from a mother, from a father, from an aunt or an uncle, from a cousin, from a brother or a sister, it doesn't matter. Every angle that was hit in this film, someone can relate to that. So I completely understand what you're saying about it didn't feel magical, but watching it a second time, it just, like, everything started to spring out as it was more of a symbolic gesture of what a family should represent and how they see it. To the world, they're this gorgeous, colorful, like, beautiful structure that everyone relies on, but it crumbled and fell. But it was the connections that they were able to build, helping the rest of the town, that helped them move into that next generation. So
Yes.
so that's really where my connection with the film came from. But I feel like if you just saw it one time, I totally get what you're saying. Like, I know how it wouldn't be magical, because this is definitely not a kid's film. This is definitely a film for adults.
That's where I'm going with it again.
Yeah, this trend of Disney putting out films for adults is hitting hard again. Because the last one was really from Pixar, but I don't know how long ago I said it. Maybe it was when we talked about Soul. But I mentioned that Disney's getting into this habit of almost trying to teach adults lessons now and not children lessons the way that they have in the past. All of these adults that grew up with the Toy Stories and these other films are now their own producers, their own directors, their own storytellers that are making these films. And they're like, this is the stuff we dealt with. Now we want to deal with it how we know how to deal with it. And so now they're dishing out all these adult films that, yeah, they're great for kids to watch. The kids are going to love it because there's songs and there's colors and, you know, all sorts of really cool stuff about it. But overall, this is for adults to be like, dude, are you doing life right?
Right?
For sure.
So, you know, all this talk about magical powers, Mel had this really great idea earlier where we were talking about, like if we were granted a power by our house, like let's say that we lived in Casita, right? Or our houses had like this magical power where we go touch a door and, you know, we're granted something cool. What would you want your power to be? You know, so we'll go around and we'll talk about what each one of us would want. So, Mel, since it was your idea, you know, kick us off with this one.
Yeah, so the film, you know, just watching it, I got this, I want to say it took me about 2 days to be like, oh, quick, think about this. And one thing I thought about was I would like to have universal translating powers and to be able to go anywhere in the world, or just to like just connect with someone and be able to just be like C-3PO and just talk to everybody. So I think that'd be fun. I mean,
So you want to talk in beep boop boop bop boop boops?
yeah.
How C-3PO talks. He goes, oh, no, but you can't move your arms very much. That's the thing.
Oh no, you gotta
You
give
gotta
them
hold
arm
your-
movement.
You gotta hold your arms up by your chest the whole time.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
And your buddy's a little rolling cylinder.
A little
know,
garbage
right?
can that follows you around.
Till the end.
That's cool. So basically, you want to be like a living version of Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Right on. That's kind of cool. Having the ability to communicate with people is so crucial. And having the ability to do it in an effective manner, I think, is just so important, because so much is lost in translation that
Yeah.
miscommunication starts wars. So being able to
Yep.
effectively communicate is, I think, a magical power that's well worth, and not just well worth having, but one that can literally save the world. So right on. That's a great power, Mel.
Thanks.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I've got, the first thing that came, I was like, okay, everybody always asks, what's your superpower you want? Like, if you want to be a superhero or whatever. My answer is always teleportation. Like, that's that's my answer every time. Teleportation, the best superpower that ever exists. I don't know if a house can give you teleportation in this magical world.
Why not?
That'd be cool.
But
That'd
yeah,
be cool.
teleportation's always my number one. Number two, I just think about it right now. I want to talk to my dog, so I want to be, if
Aw.
if
was a good
if
one.
teleportation
Yeah.
doesn't work, then I'll just like steal Antonio's power, just talk to animals. Just
That'd be cool.
my dog mostly, but
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
yeah.
Come home. I'm hungry.
Right?
Yeah. Can I text with my dog, like check in on her, because I can know what's going on? But yeah, that's mine. Teleportation and or dog talking.
That do
like not dog whispering. Like, yeah, but just my dog. I mean, or some dog, just dogs. I don't get any other animals, but other animals too. I don't
That's funny. That's awesome, dude. I mean, if you could talk to all of them and have the Doolittle effect all around, I mean, imagine how many people you
Yeah.
could help.
Yeah.
know. Yeah, and my dog, I could like be like, chill out, man.
Yeah?
Like that's. She wakes me up. Okay, she hold on. She wakes me up at 4:30 in the morning to eat breakfast every day. I don't get up at 4:30 in the morning, so I have to get up, and they jump on me and they walk around and they just go. They go to the edge of the bed and just go. For like, I try to ignore them. It doesn't work, so I have to get up at 4:30. So just be like, okay, listen, like reason with the dog. Like you can't reason with the dog, but magic powers.
There it is.
Yeah.
You should look
That's
at
a little
them back
su-
and just be like,
Oh, I do that too. It doesn't do. They get confused for a second, and then they just do it back. It doesn't do anything.
oh, man. Hey, can I just say, I like the fact that you chose Antonio's powers, because I don't know if the writers in any way are Doctor Who fans, but the fact that they threw a line when they walked in, were like, it's bigger on the inside. I was like, yes, TARDIS all the way. Awesome.
And he has
power.
like there's a capybara in there with him. There's all kinds of cool
Yeah,
stuff in
I
there.
love it. It's got the tree of life and everything. He basically lives
Right.
at Animal Kingdom. That's what we found out. So his door does have the power of teleportation, because it takes him to Animal Kingdom. How about that?
There you
Does
go.
he have flight of passage in there too?
If you look behind the tree, it's probably there. There's a floating island and
Okay.
everything.
Oh
Awesome.
man.
Larry, what about you? What power would you select?
I don't want to mess up. What's the main character's name? Can you say it for me?
Mirabel?
Mirabelle.
Mirabel.
Mirabel.
Like I mentioned, Mirabel.
Or you say it like Andrew. Yeah, Mirabelle.
Mirabel.
Mirabelle.
Mirabel. And I was in middle school, so I think that's what I remember. But I can't say those Spanish names very well. That's my power.
Great power. Mispronunciation.
Or forgetting them completely. I think for me, when we were talking about it earlier, when they broke out in a song, like this is my honorable mention. I like how Andrew did too. This is my honorable mention.
I can't ever pick one. Like,
I
come
me
on.
either.
Like, it's hard.
I never thought about it, but I've always been a big fan of like Glee, and I've mentioned that on here, the show, and they have these moments where they have like these real life songs, but they played them to like current top 40 hits, right? I thought it was really cool to be able just to break out in song, actually sound good, make it sound like a conversation. That'd be an awesome way. Like you talk about Melissa's like this universal communication. You imagine like you had the power to like make someone sing good, and then you turn this whole like orchestra number, people join in. That's just like your power. It always happens. I think that'd be the coolest thing ever, and it'd just be like, how in the heck and why in the heck did we just do that? Kind of like Men in Black. Then they have amnesia, like they remember something happened and they learned, but they didn't know it was like a whole song, right? That would be cool.
Have you seen Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
Heard
So
about
good,
it.
dude.
So
The
that's
playlist.
like
I've never
kind of
watched
like
it.
somewhere similar to that. She can like people they have like heart songs is like the thing, and so she just sees people breaking out into musical numbers in the middle of the street. Nobody else can see it but her. It's
Right.
it's a good show, and sad that it got canceled. But there's a Christmas special.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you watch the
Oh,
Christmas
continue.
special yet?
Well, I did watch
It
the
was
Christmas
good.
special.
I'm
It was
glad
good.
that they wrapped it
was
up like
good.
that. It's a good show, Larry.
Yeah.
You would enjoy it.
So they're great show recommendations. That's my honorable mention, but I think it kind of goes into what I was just saying earlier, like empathizing, which you guys are talking about. I wish I could know what people were thinking. That would be my power. I know that's a scary borderline because you could probably get the darkest thoughts, or you might get thoughts about you that you don't like, and it'd be like, but like Stan Lee said, as we all want to quote, with great power comes, great responsibility. So I feel like if I was able to do that, that would be like one of the coolest things, to just know what someone was truly thinking or feeling. I think that would be my number one to get.
Those are great.
Nice.
I mean, the power of flash mob, I think, is one that we share. Like that, dude. For years, I've been talking about how I would have loved to have done a flash mob at Disneyland and just been like, "Oh, I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP," and just walk down
And
Main
then security
Street.
comes out. It's like,
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Tase him! Just on the floor.
Disney jail for you. Disney jail for you.
We told you to
Disney jail
stop
for you.
doing that already. You're not in the parade. Stop. Yeah, but the power of flash mob, dude, I'd totally be in for that. I'm a big Glee fan as well. Although as I've gotten older, I've found more plot holes in the show, and I feel like weird about certain things. But yeah, I'm like, dude, the mashups that they did on that show, some of them are epic. You know what? Like, just quickly, side comment, just me and you right now. Best mashup that they did, Umbrella, Singing in the Rain.
That's a good one.
Which one would you
Literally
say?
the only thing that I thought of.
That's the first song I played after I proposed to my wife. Like, seriously, I played that in the hotel room.
The mashup?
Because I proposed her in the... Yeah, I proposed her in the rain.
That's awesome.
So that... yeah, that was the first song I played. Oh, man, that's killing me. Oh, I can't believe you put that on me. I really liked when they... no, I'm going to stick with that. I like your choice. I think I have a lot. If we can make a whole episode
Oh, me
on
too.
the mashups alone.
Me too.
Seriously. I don't want to judge it first off, but that's the
Let's
first
do
song
it.
I played.
Let's do it.
for
Let's
us.
talk
I'm mad
mashups.
at-
Let's do an episode. Like a
I'm
mashup.
mad at Glee because like they ruined "Don't Stop Believin'" for me.
I get it.
Because it was like it's a good song and people liked it, and then they're like, okay, Glee did "Don't Stop Believin'." It's like literally everywhere. And I used to work for do concerts in the park and stuff like that, and you get cover bands.
Yeah.
Literally every cover band, no matter what genre it is, does "Don't Stop Believin'."
Look, man.
It's like, party band, "Don't Stop Believin'. Country band, "Don't Stop Believin'. Michael Jackson band, "Don't Stop Believin'. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Heyzen at karaoke night. Don't stop believing.
Don't Stop Believin'. And it seems to have been, it's kind of waned a little bit, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's still in the mix, but the one that everybody does is Uptown Funk.
Oh.
Country
Oh,
band,
yeah.
Uptown Funk. It's everybody. Country Uptown Funk is the weirdest. Like, it
thought of
doesn't
the
make
mashup,
any
Heyzen.
sense.
Oh, what would you
Oh,
say?
there you go.
My honorable mention, and it's an earlier episode. It's "Don't Stand So Close to Me," and also
Oh, that's a
"Don't
good
Stand
one.
Don't stand so close to me, and then "The Teacher." I can't remember. There's like a mashup between the two.
I mean, it's
Nah.
definitely like an after show thing. It's not a an episode sort of thing, since it's not fully Disney related in any way. Well, wait a second. Darren Criss was in Haunted Mansion. Darren Criss was in Glee. Boom. That's it. We've done it. We've connected it. It's Disney.
There's a connection. Yeah, somewhere
Okay,
in
it's
there.
Don't Stand So Close to Me and Young Girl.
That's it. That's it.
I
Young Girl.
Googled it for you.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
I didn't want to keep singing it because, like I said, that's not my power.
I was like, I started just kept singing Don't Stand So Close to Me because it's the only song. I don't know the other song.
There's tons of them. Yeah, there's tons of them. So we'll put a pin in that one. We'll do it on an after show. That way we could just talk about our favorite mashups that they did across the entire show. If there's any leaks, obviously, you'll get a chance to hear it if you're part of the FGP Squad because it'll go up on Patreon. But great choice, man.
Talk about how creepy Matthew Morrison is on the same episode.
Yeah,
we could
he
talk
is
about
creepy,
that.
that's
Yeah,
true.
and I could talk about
Too
some of
bad
the
he
issues
sings
that I've
really
had
good.
with Glee as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how he's creepy Grinch too? We'll have to talk about creepy Grinch.
Oh, definitely, dude. After you
Oh,
told us
man.
about that, I'm like totally, yeah.
Creepy
Yep,
Grinch.
gotta do
Jesus
that.
Christ.
Gotta do that.
Anyway, Heyzen was going to talk about a superpower that he
Yeah,
or
come
magical
on.
power.
So-
yeah, we
But
need it.
we're on creepy Grinch again. So
Mine is actually a variation of what Larry last said. Like, I think the power of empathy, I think, is huge, right? Especially when you think about how the last 2 years have gone. I think that if more people understood how certain people feel about how they've been maneuvering around the pandemic, especially, I think things would have been a lot smoother. And if you're willing to put some things on the back burner, especially when they may not seem rational, I think it would have been a lot easier to maneuver through the last couple of years. So my variation of Larry's power is I don't want to feel what other people feel. I want to make others feel what others are feeling. So if I know that person
Ooh.
A is struggling with something
Wow.
and person B is being combative about it, I want the ability to make person B feel the way that person A is feeling so that they can understand why they're going through that and why they're arguing that. And vice versa, because everybody might be feeling a certain way, right? But I know that there's a lot of irrational arguments that go on where some people are trying to stick up for very irrational things that if you for a moment could put yourself in the shoes of somebody that's struggling for a particular reason, I think there would be a lot more harmony in the world. So my power would essentially be to transfer that feeling to another person temporarily so that they can empathize more with that person.
Dude,
You'd
that's
be like
awesome.
the second volume of my comic book guide. I would be the first volume, you'd be volume 2, the hybrid version. Or Iron Man, you'd be the better suit, as you'd say.
Well, it's either that or now I have an infinity gauntlet, so I'm just going to get rid of the people that suck. One of the two. It's a snap away,
You got it.
people.
The snap away.
You know what was one thing I did think about, and I was like, dang, the world would be fun if you could make desserts that don't cause diabetes. I mean,
It's such a good
every
point.
Disney dessert would be wonderful.
Yeah.
No consequences.
I would enjoy
No.
so many more of them these days.
or just have like the mom superpower where it's like, you're healthy now. You're healthy now. You fixed. You're fixed.
Oh,
You're fixed.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Because you get to
Eat
eat like
something good.
like you eat a donut and you're fixed. Like, isn't that great? Like,
Dude, my life would
Here's a
make so
donut.
much more sense all of a sudden.
I'd be the healthiest guy in the world.
Right.
Eating donuts, getting healthy. What are you gonna do?
That's good.
If eating donuts would mean how healthy you are, I would be invincible.
Right?
I would look like The Rock. Bring it full circle.
Back to the rock. Saturated in rocks. The rock.
That's funny. All right. Well, I think that's a really great place to end the episode. So, unless there's any honorable mentions, anyone have any honorable mentions for additional powers?
I mean, I wanted to talk about real quick. The voice cast of the film was great. I just wanted to.
Oh,
bring
let's do
up.
that. Let's
Good
do
point.
that.
Yeah, Stephanie Beatriz, like, if you know her from
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Nine-Nine.
Nine-Nine, completely like 180 on the like the voice work. Like it's crazy that that's the same person.
Wow.
And yeah, so I just thought the cast was like it was very well cast. Wilmer Valderrama and John Leguizamo. That's who I was thinking of as Bruno and everybody. I mean, the cast was great. Also featuring for like half a second. Alan Tudyk is also in the film
Of course.
as a bird. He doesn't play people anymore. He's just like animals and stuff. I think
Just birds.
just birds.
Animals.
You've seen that video of him, right? Like doing the hey stuff, and then he goes like, "I went to Julia."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to shout out the voice cast. I don't,
No, good. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
No, they did fantastic. Can I tell you that the first time I saw Stephanie Beatriz on the red carpet for this film, seeing her all happy and bubbly, it's like no. No, you are an angry person. What is wrong with you?
Right?
It goes to show how talented she is, whether as a voice actress or just as an actress in general, that, she can play that serious or that, hardcore character that she played on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And which even on that show, there were moments where she showed a softer side of herself as well, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, Andrew, this 180,
it's kind of similar too with the one that plays Isabella,
Diane Guerrero.
Guerrero,
yeah,
because I don't know if you watch Doom Patrol. She's on Doom Patrol. If you've seen that, it's a great show. She plays like most of the. She has multiple personality kind of thing. That's her superpower. If you don't know, but most of the time she's like a real mean, like serious person. And this one, she's like, "I'm Flower Lady." So yeah, it's.
I'm gonna quote that. I'm gonna put that on a sticker now. I'm Flower Lady.
I'm Flower Lady. You have to do at the end. I'm Flower Lady do. Coming to the merch store soon. Andrew, stickers. I'm Flower Lady do.
That's good.
I think that's what we need in the merch section is just quotes.
Oh, that would be good. I'd just make a bunch of stickers of quotes from Encanto.
No, quotes from us.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay,
we
both
gotta go
work.
back in the archives. Yeah, both
work.
But yeah, quotes from, because we got some great quotes like "I'm Flower Lady do."
Or Get Fiddle. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw one out there.
I thought that was pretty good. Get Fiddle. Sounded like something.
No, it's a real thing. Get Fiddle.
No, it just sounds like you can make that a tagline. Get Fiddle.
It's a great conversation starter.
Well, the idea of Get Fiddle Hero was actually an idea that my friend Wayne had a long time ago, where he was joking about playing Guitar Hero, but that he wanted to do Get Fiddle. I was like, how would you do that with a violin? Like in my head, I just thought, like, how would you do that with a violin? And for some reason, earlier when we were talking, the idea, we were talking about instruments, and you were talking about Kirk and the Hillbillies and everything.
Billy and the Hillbillies, yeah.
I thought Get Fiddle again. I was like, wait a second. Okay, well, this is great because now we got a violin. We got the Get Fiddle. And then you looked it up, and it turned into this whole long. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I'm sorry. All right, it's time to wrap up the episode. I think that's a great place.
Fine.
So, yes.
Fine.
Fantastic job by the voice cast. If you want to join in on the conversation about what superpower you would have, we'd love to hear what you would select. So you can join the conversation over on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. But honestly, we'd love for you to join us on our growing Discord community. If you haven't joined us yet, it's super simple to do that. Head over to podketeers.com/394 and click on the link that you'll see in the blog post. As a matter of fact, this week I will pin an Instagram story with our Discord channel and a link with an invite. So if Instagram is kind of your jam, you don't really go to websites, I'll leave it pinned to our stories so that you can go click on it there, join the Discord server. It's super simple, and then you can join the conversation there. I'd love to hear what other people's superpowers are. So yeah, I'll make it a little bit easier for you to join us over on Discord. And of course, if you are part of the FGP Squad, like we talked about earlier, you do have an exclusive section of the Discord server where we can communicate specifically with the FGP Squad as well. So, any final thoughts or comments before we wrap up the episode?
Nope.
I don't know.
Nailed it.
Pop, 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 beep, beep, pop.
That's it. That's going to wrap it up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Beep, beep, boop, boop.
See ya.
Nice. Happy New Year to listeners, and thank you for being a friend.
Boop, boop, bop, boop, boop, bop.
Nice. That's awesome.
Part of the Podketeers Network.